Demon, I don't know if I'm gonna say that ever again. I think that's gonna be the intro. Demon, I don't know if I'm gonna say that again. It's kind of corny now. At first, I thought the intro was cool, but I digress though. So this is gonna be another video. Again, this isn't really necessarily a podcast anymore. This is just a discussion channel now. I think that's gonna be more of the vibe here. And so yeah, we're gonna talk about something I kind of am just so sick of tired of talking about, but I'm just gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about, if you see the thumbnail of the title, we're gonna talk about the Doomsday movie, Avengers Doomsday, and everyone's talking about how ever since what happened to the guy who played Kang, I don't know, I'm forgetting his name, but you know what happened to him. He lost his role because he was running from a white woman, and so he lost his movie role because again, I already said it, so I'm not gonna say it again. I'm afraid they're gonna demonetize me. Please, please, I don't want to get demonetized. I'm trying to make money off this channel. Yes, I'm trying to make money. Get big whoop. Want to fight about it? Who cares? But yeah. Ever since he got removed and they're removing King from the whole thing, they kind of act, Doom as the villain, and they're instead of making the King dynasty doing Doomsday, whatever. And these past, I think, ever since the release of Avatar, Marvel said they're gonna release a new teaser trailer in those movies, and honestly, I think that's just a way for them to get more people to watch Avatar, because I don't really think Avatar is. It's a way to get people to come watch Avatar. Just watch these, trailers. And the first trailer that was the Steve Rogers one, which everyone thought was AI, but it was true. Just him riding a motorcycle. Goes. I'm not gonna play the trailer here because I'm not trying to get in trouble. And he drives a motorcycle, walks in, looks at it as a Captain America suit, picks up a baby, and that's the end of the trailer. And he goes, Steve Rogers will make a return as Captain America. Cool, 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 cool. I thought that was probably the dumbest thing I've ever saw in my life. I'm like, so you just see him riding a motorcycle? I'm like, this is so absurd. Like, this is dumb. Like, this is very dumb. They're basically just telling you, hey, he's coming back as Captain America. And then you have the other Thor trailer with him just praying, saying now he has someone in life he has to take care of. He just hopes he comes back. I'm like, bro. So basically, you're just saying he's coming. There, all these trailers are doing are just confirming the fan service. They're just trying to answer questions that the fans were kind of hoping, which aren't really like good trailers. They're pretty bad trailers, in my opinion. They're teaser trailers, but they're pretty bad. Like, I could have lived my life not seeing any of these. Steve Rogers, he's coming back. It's something to do with a baby. Okay. Okay. And then you also have Thor. He's coming back, but now they're basically saying, guys, I know you guys wanted a more serious Thor. We're gonna give him. I don't even care anymore. Yes, interrupt me, Windows. I know you guys want a more serious Thor. Guess what? We're bringing back serious, okay? You didn't like Thor Ragnarok, which completely bastardized the whole gore of the God Butcher movie. We're gonna make it serious. And then I guess I don't know what the other trailers are. I'm like, bro, why are you guys like? And then it just dawned on me one thing. I kind of sat there and it dawned on me because I really didn't care about any of these stupid trailers. But everyone on my job talking about it, and when they refer to comic books and they want to think, because they say comic book, like, see, that's the key word, comic book. They talk about comic books, right? And some of their opinions, and because I don't go on social media, I don't really know what's the hoopla. I mean, I know some hoopla I can get the base of the people around me, but I don't get why these guys are talking so confidently. Like they read comics, or sorry, like they read in general. I don't know why you guys are talking so confidently. Like, you know what you're talking about. Majority of you guys don't know what you're talking about. You just like comic book media. You don't really read or know anything about it. None of these things are following any form of the comic books. Like this movie, this Doomsday movie. I know I sound like I'm talking all over the place, but I'm just speaking. I just kind of don't want to talk about this movie because I can just tell you, this movie's gonna be a 6.5. This movie is going to be a 6.5. Everything about this movie is a 6.5. No one knows what the point of this movie. Why there? First thing first, this is not Doctor Doom. This is just they're using the Doom IP, but it really is just Robert Downey Jr. as a villain. It's not Doctor Doom. None of this is nothing of this is faithful to anything. Honestly, they're making this up. The Steve Rogers having a baby thing, they're not. They're making this up. Like someone kept saying evil like Hydra Captain America, Hydra Captain America. Not knowing that was just a completely different guy pretending. Editor's cut. So this is actually the evil Hydra is Steve Rogers based from an alternate universe. So that's one thing. But they're not using an alternate universe. They're going back in time to get Steve Rogers. So editor's cut. Just gotta put that in there. Evil Captain America, and then someone's saying the end of one movie causes this. I'm like, bro, the end of what caused what? This makes no sense. I don't understand what's going on here. And I don't mean like in a good way, like I'm confused, like what's this, what's that? Like I'm not that kind of I don't understand. Like this isn't like that Halo 5 Infinite trailer, with the whole know the truth where you're trying to figure out what's the truth, and it was like kind of exciting because you're kind of like, wait, they just showed two different trailers of two outcomes. This is the truth, so someone's lying here. No, it's not like that at all. This is one of those. For me, as someone who, if you have all these characters in all these movies, right? Who's gonna be the one thing I've noticed is this is like a like storytelling. If you have so much heroes in one story, then the main character is gonna have to be the villain. Just like how in Infinity War, Thanos was basically the main character. So we followed, and Infinity War was built through times of multiple movies being made. So we got to understand, and with like the test with like the stones, right? And it was being built up through different movies, which all stood alone, but had little things that kept them connected. And which led to Thanos, who became like the main character in Infinity War. So that's why Infinity War was successful. Now then, I honestly think Infinity War is way better than Endgame, because Endgame was, I'm not gonna lie, Endgame was also a 6.5. Endgame only was hype. Like that Thor scene with the hammer was hype. I mean, I guess that on your left thing with Falcon was kind of hype. I'm assuming. And everything else was cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. That movie was kind of corny, kind of boring, and yeah. Endgame was like if Infinity War was like a 9, then Endgame is a solid 6.5. It was meh. And don't say, "Oh, Endgame was great, guys." I want you to go back and rewatch Endgame. You guys will probably like it goes through it like Endgame is such a like. It's not brain rot, but it has the same effect as brain rot, where like you can shut your brain off and you don't even have to pay attention to what's going on, and it just goes through to the part where you want to care about. It's like the fighting in the end. That's pretty much what it is. And you can call me a hater. I don't care. But yeah. So when I put that, see how I brought up how the Thanos thing was brought up chronologically? I know I butchered that. But whatever. It's my channel. Eat it. But when you get to like this, first thing, it's like this Doomsday thing just seems so abrupt. Like they literally just like it's like everything about Doomsday is probably the reason why nobody likes MCU now. It's more like they're caring so much on actors. They're caring so much on filling in of what they think the fans want. And these stupid agendas, like before they're trying to be like a social, like SJW-esque. And then they're like, oh, let's just focus on like they're trying like at first after like the first stage they try to make SJW-esque, and then they got rid of that to make it more fan service. This whole thing just seems like it's fans. Yeah, I just answered it. This is just a fan service movie. Doomsday is just a giant fan service, man. Nothing about this is gonna be like good, and are at least faithful to the characters. And I understand when you're making. I know the argument when you're doing a live act. When you, this is not like a direct, um, verbatim thing from like the actual comic books. Because I know you guys are gonna say that these are just adaptations. You can't really make adaptations have a lot of creative liberties. They're never gonna be exact to the comic books, which I 100% agree about that term about adaptations. Now listen to me now. When you have an adaptation, look, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't write this down. I'm just speaking out of the dome. Okay, so bear with me if this seems kind of all over the place. When you're having an adaptation, I love adaptations, right? I think some of my favorite medias are from adaptations, all right? A lot of animes have adaptations, all right? I love Full Metal Alchemist, the 2003, more than like Brotherhood. Brotherhood is a direct verbatim of the manga. The 2003 version is a loose adaptation. Now, one thing I can say after watching both is all about them. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to that Brotherhood example. So my favorite another adaptation. I'm gonna continue on with the word adaptation of what I like. I like Justice League. Those are adaptations to characters, like the old school, the one that aired on like Toonami, like in 2002. That's a great adaptation. I like the Static Shock world. Great adaptation. I even like the X-Men show, the 1992 one. I love those. Those are not exact verbatim, but those are adaptations. And the Justice League one is more loose than it is the actual following the actual story arcs of the comic books. But one thing about adaptations that the reason why I love them is you can make an adaptation of something and it doesn't have to be exact copy of the exact source material. It can have like it can be 1% to the source material and then the rest could just be whatever. But what makes the adaptation good is does it follow the core essence of the character that does it follow the core essence of the character? Does that adaptation follow that character that they're mimicking? Like Batman. I'm gonna use Batman. Batman in the comic books and Batman in Justice League is in the animated series follows that core essence of Batman. Do I like the fact that they try to make Dick Grayson and Batman and Batman made the series that's Justice League whatever. They make him kind of like him and Dick always arguing and then fighting. I mean, him and Dick were going at around that time. Him and Dick were going through frictions, but they weren't like, like the things you're seeing now. Some things in comics, but whatever. But no, but at his essence, those adaptations represent Batman perfectly. Like, let's just instead of saying A, instead of him going left, what happened if he went right? And let's see his character go through that right. He'll handle and see how he'll handle it and how his personality will handle through there. Instead of writing themselves into it, they write the character in a different scenario to see how the essence of that character will go through that type of storytelling. That is when you do an adaptation great. That's why the 2003 this is why a lot of people who watch 2003 Brotherhood, the 2003 Full Metal Alchemist, and then they talk about Brotherhood, there's a two division between the fan base. One, like they're divided between the fan base between which one you like more and which one you like less. But you never hear the one say that. You will never hear anyone who actually likes Brotherhood say that the 2003 never followed the characters, that these characters in like the 2003 did not follow, like were not the same, didn't follow the essence of the characters of the manga. It followed the essence of the character of the manga, but the story was different and altered, following through a different way of events. But it's still the character. Imagine it in a different direction, or told in a different light, or they used one part of it and then told another story of it, but they still kept that character's demeanor, the character's reactions, the essence of what that made that character lovable. It still carried out through there. That's how you make a good adaptation. I thought the 2003 is a very great adaptation. The only things that people didn't like about the 2003 was the fact that it didn't follow the manga. Like most animes did. That's why Brotherhood was there. But if you want a very good storytelling, very good characters, great storytelling, then the 2003 is perfect because it was a great adaptation. That's why, see what I mean? They follow the character's essence. Now, what does this have to do with Doomsday? Well, let's just continue on here. Minus Captain America, minus some characters, like let's do Thor. Bro, hey, Thor's been bastardized so much in Marvel, man. It's crazy. Like, Thor Ragnarok completely bastardized the entire story. And I get the adaptation, but like, they did not follow the essence of what that story was. Like the whole Gore the God Butcher thing. And they had that. They just ruined that whole story, which could have been a great storytelling, and it could have really pushed Chris Hemsworth's acting chops, and it really could have been something better if Disney, honestly, you didn't need any of those characters. You could have just had Thor alone, and he would have him against Gore, and then because anyone who doesn't know about the whole Gore and Thor thing was that whole story arc was basically the content had two big talking points. It was a talking point about maturity of different stages of man, and also talked about the concept of religion and the effects it has on people and gods. So you have two concepts of two different stages of men, and also talking about the concept of religion. And I loved how they did that in that whole Thor the God Butcher arc, and how there was three different generations of Thors all fighting Gore. And they could have honestly did something similar to that. They didn't have to make an exact verbatim, exactly with the whole granddaughter. They didn't have to do any of that. All they had to do was just show the three different generations of Thors, talk about the different stages of life of a man. We're also constantly talking about religion and how it affects people, and how worthless religion is, and also how useful religion is as well. And have shown two different conflict, and showing how each three generations of men were handled through that. And it would have been, that could have been a phenomenal movie. But unfortunately, Disney would never do something like that, because Disney has rules. I don't care what anyone says. I think Disney has underlying rules. A, don't talk about anything too heavy. And B, we don't talk about religion or anything else that talks about maturity. That will make a whole, boss girl movie, which nobody watches Captain Marvel. Shoot, that movie, no one watch Captain Marvel. And that's where I have a problem about, like, they won't talk about like that, but they'll talk about like basic mainstream talking points and corny SJW things like Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt was, I don't care what anyone who says Thunderbolt's a good movie. You sure are a corporate shell. That movie was awful. You're a corporate shell, because Thunderbolt was trash. The end, I'm gonna spoil it. The end where they came together and defeated the Void was hugging Sentry. Bro, no. That was not a good adaptation at all. That's not even, hugging Sentry wouldn't do anything. How they even, no, man, no. That's not a good adaptation. That was a terrible adaptation. You guys, that was so lame. You guys wanted to make about mental health. It's like, I get that, but like, you guys are mercenaries, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you were talking about like PTSD or something, of like you killed someone you didn't want to kill, but you're just it's more of like you're just depressed. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm depressed. Which, depression is real, but it's like, I just stop. Just stop. If they really want to make something serious, they could have did like, I don't know, like a PTSD, make him feel regretful of killing somebody, and so then the hardship of just being a mercenary, like Vinland Saga Season 2, something like that would have been perfect if they wanted to make that kind of approach. Like they did with Bucky in the Falcon and the Bucky show, where he had to, apologize because he killed that dude's son. Like something like that. But no. But I know I'm getting over the place. But like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna say about Doom. Doom isn't gonna be good. This movie's gonna be trash because it's, like I said before earlier, this is not an adaptation of Doom. You're gonna have a whole You're gonna have Doom. Doom, one of the most iconic villains in Marvel. And you're gonna say, A, it has nothing to do with his love of him and Latveria, and B, no Reed Richards beef. who who are you? Man, what? Like, that's like the two biggest essence of Doom. A, he's smart and he hates Tone and he hates Reed Richard. And B, he's trying to protect his country, Liberia. You get rid of both of those, and you're just, I don't know who you have, just some obscure bad guy. You know what they should have did if they didn't know how to make this work? Instead of using the Doom IP to get people to get stupid comic book fans to come watch, because that's what they're doing. Like, this is what I mean when I say they're not following anything. They're not using any essence or anything. They're just making things up. They're taking characters and they're making them up into characters that they want. This is not the characters they are. They're taking these characters and they're trying to turn them into characters that will fit what they want and make awful, freaking corny, terrible movies. Okay? Like, these are not good movies. None of them is good. Like, these are not good adaptations. They're just making up characters. Like, honestly, I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is going to be a fact. If they wanted to bring Robert Downey Jr. as a bad guy, they could have just brought him back and call evil Iron Man from an alternate dimension and then make up a whole new character. They could have made a whole new freaking villain. They didn't have to put Doom involved in any of this. What the hell does Doom have to do with any of this? You're just making things up. You're not even being faithful to the character's essence. This isn't even a good adaptation. You're making a whole new bad guy, but you're calling him Doom just so you can get people to come watch. It's like using someone's IP, but you're making the whole thing up. Like, there's nothing very interesting about it. That's just why I said the movie's gonna be a solid 6. You're gonna have hype moments, and they're gonna steal moments from comics, but in reality, there really is gonna be A, a lot of people are gonna be confused. B, the story's gonna be weak, and D, you wouldn't even think this is Doom. You would have just thought this was. You're gonna think it's just an evil Tony Stark. Which, by the way, I don't want to get enough of the Stark thing. But I'm just gonna say this, man. I just don't want to talk about freaking Marvel. This movie, like, I really don't. This movie is gonna be a 6 out of 10. As people are gonna go into this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this movie's kind of trash." Blah 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 blah. I don't get it. Before, if you guys really just wanted to bring a bad guy, they could have just made one up. They didn't have to use the Doom IP. That's absolute. Using Doom was absolutely superfluous. They could have just brought back some evil bad guy and used him pretend to be like, oh, he's like Tony Stark, but he's not Tony Stark, and brought back Robert Downey Jr. as an evil bad guy. It made up a whole new continuity. And who knows, if they would have did the Marvel way, it could have been an actual Marvel villain. But I digress, though. They'll never do that because this is just some hoopla. This is not hoopla. This is just going to be awful and trash. It's going to be a 6. This movie is going to be a 6. And I'm not going to watch it. I mean, I don't know. I kind of don't want to watch it because it looks like a 6. And yeah, it's not going to be good. So that's all I got to say about this. And I have nothing else to say, man. This just became just me yapping for like 24 minutes. So, yeah. Ciao.